Hello student, in previous video we have seen about the frictional distillation. In that we have seen that the frictional distillation is used when the two or more than two substances are miscible, and if you want to separate it out then we can use the frictional distillation. And the boiling point difference is between the less than the 25 Kelvin. So in such a case we can use the frictional distillation. Now in this video we will see about the crystallization process. So the crystallization process is used to remove the impurities from the solid and purify it. The crystallization process is used to remove impurities from solid and purify it. So it is a separate, a pure solid from the mixture in the form of crystal. So this process is used in a purification of salt from the seawater and the separation of crystal of alum from the impure sample. And it is better method than the evaporation, because if asked that why the crystallization is better option than the evaporation, then the answer is that you can write down the reason. The first one, that the solid decomposed, or you can say some like sugar, may get the charred on the heating to dryness. The first one, that why it is a preferable that crystallization process as compared to evaporation. Then the first reason, that the solid is decomposed, or sometimes the sugar like substance may get the churn or heating to dryness. The second main reason is some impurities may remain or dissolve in the solution even after the filtration, and on evaporation this contaminate the solid too. So this is two drawbacks of the evaporation process. That's why we are looking for the crystallization process. It is better method than the evaporation, because it is means the crystallization process is better method than the evaporation, because the solid decomposed or some sugar like substance may get the churn or a heating to dryness. And the second reason, that some of the impurities which is present after the evaporation in the solution, so we cannot get the 100% purified substance. So the some impurities may remain dissolved in the solution even after filtration. On evaporation this contaminate the solid. So this is two main reason that the crystallization is good separation technique as compared to evaporation. It is used to remove the impurities from the solid and also used for the purify it. The second one, that it separate a pure solid from the mixture in the form of crystal. The third one, that this process is used in a purification of salt from the seawater and separation of crystal of alum from the impure samples. Now, it is a better method than the evaporation, because the first point, the solid is decomposed or some sugar-like substance. It may get the churn and heating to a dryness. The second one, dryness means it's lost the water molecule. Due to that, it become a reddish, or you can say the yellowish color. And some impurities may remain dissolved in the solution even after the filtration on the evaporation, and this can leads to contaminate the solid. Here the water purification system in a water works is given. The first one, that a reservoir where the water is stored, and then after it is passed to the first tank, and this first tank is known as a sedimentation tanks. Here the whatever the denser particles, denser substance are there, which is settled down at the sediment tank, and whatever the lighter substance which is passed further, means the water is passed further to the next tank, and that this next tank is known as a loading tank. In this, to sediment the suspend impurities is filtered out. Again it is passed to the next, it is a filtration tank. Here the according to the density, again the settle down of the substances occur, and the filtration process is occur. And after filtration, water is passed to the last, or you can say the chlorination tank. Here the fumigation of chlorine gas is occur in the water, so that the whatever the bacteria and the germs which is present inside the water, that can be purified. And after the chlorification, this water is passed to all the cities home for the use different purpose. Let's see one more time. This is the water purification system, how it is work. At the starting, the reservoir is there from where the water is stored, and then after this reservoir water, which is passed to the first tank, and this first tank is known as a sedimentation tank. In the sedimentation tank, whatever the denser and the heavy particles is there, which is sediment, or you can say the settle down at the bottom, and then the lighter substance like a water is passed to the another tank, and this another tank is known as a loading tank. Here the also sedimentation is occur, and whatever the lighter part is there, which is go upward direction. So it is also passed to the next tank, and whatever the harmful or a denser particle which is settled down at the base, or you can say the base of the loading tank. Now the water is further passed to the filter tank. Here the filtration process is occur. In that the fine sand, which is a fine, or the rock sand, which is a heavier, so it is also again settled down, and the water is again passed to the chlorination tank. Here the fumigation of chlorine gas is occur to the water, so whatever the bacteria germs which is present inside the tank, that can be killed. And then after it is further passed out to the cities home, and where all the citizens can be use this purified water. Now let's see the next one, that the physical and the chemical change. The process which brings about a change in a physical property and no new substance is formed. So this kind of change we consider as a physical change. Physical change means the process which brings about a change in a physical properties and no new substance are formed during the physical change. The common physical change are change in a color, hardness, then the rigidity, fluidity, density, and the melting and the boiling point. These are the properties which can change after the physical process. Now the next one, that is of the chemical process, in that the process in which the new substance are formed and the chemical property of substance get changed, then we consider it as a chemical change. Some chemical properties like order, changing in order, inflammable, etc. It is arise, absorb, etc. Now let's see the difference between physical change and the chemical change. So as we discuss in the definition part, that the physical change, it brings about the change in physical properties only, like physical state, shape, size, etc. And here there is no any kind of new substances formed. Whereas in chemical change, it brings about the change in chemical properties. In the chemical properties, the physical properties such as a physical state, shape, size is change in physical property, but in chemical property the change is occur as a chemically, the substance is become a change, the properties also change after the chemical reaction. Whatever the new compound is formed after the chemical reaction, that properties is also different from the reactant. The second one, that no change in a chemical composition are observed. During the physical change, there is a no any kind of changes occur in a chemical composition. While in chemical change, as I told you that the change in chemical properties are observed. Whatever the new substance is formed, that shows the change in a chemical property as the reactant one. It is a reversible process, but the chemical process, it is a irreversible process. That means it's a permanent one. And the last one that after the physical reaction, there is no new substance is formed, while in a chemical change, after the uh, after the reaction, there is a new substance is formed. Let's see one more time difference between the physical and the chemical change. The process in which the brings about the change in a physical property and no new substance is formed. As we see in the physical change, there is no any kind of new substance is formed. And the chemical, or you can say the composition of the uh, particles, or you can say composition, is also not change of the reactant. The common physical change are occur after the physical reaction. It is a change in color, change in hardness, rigidity, fluidity, density, melting point, and the boiling point. But there is no any new substance formed. Whereas in chemical process, the process in which the new substance are formed and the chemical properties of a substance which is get change are chemical change, and some chemical properties like a odor change, inflammable, etc. Now let's see the basic difference between the physical change and the chemical change. In the physical change, it brings about the change in a physical property like its states, shape, and the size, whereas in chemical change, it brings about the change in a chemical property. The second one, that no change in a chemical composition are observed, while in a chemical change, changes in a chemical properties are observed. And the physical process are reversible, while a chemical process is not reversible, means it is a permanent. And after the physical process, there is no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical change, the new substance is formed. Now let's see the types of pure substance. The pure substance is mainly divided into the two types according to their chemical composition. The first one, that element, the second one, that is of component. The types of pure substance. The pure substance is divided into two types on the basis of their chemical composition. The first type, that is element, and the second one, that is of compound. Element means it is a basic form of a matter and which cannot be further broken down into the simple structure. So such kind of things we can consider as a element. Let's see the element. According to Antoine Laurent Lavoisier, element is a basic form of a matter that cannot be broken down into simple substance by a chemical reaction, and it is divided into the three types. It is divided into three types like a metal, non-metal, and metalloid. Element is divided into three types: metal, non-metal, and metalloid. Let's see one more time. Types of pure substance. The pure substance is divided into the two types on the basis of their chemical composition. The first one, that is element, and the second one, that is of compound. The first one, that is of element. So the element means according to the Antoine Laurent Lavoisier, element is a basic form of matter that cannot be broken down into the simple substance by the chemical reaction. So that things we consider as an element. And this element is divided into the three types according to their properties: metal, non-metal, and the metalloid. Metal, non-metal, and metalloid. Later on in the next video, we will see the properties of these three of like a metals property, non-metals property, and metalloids property. Thank you.